On this episode of Bite Sized, we are watching and discussing the 64th scene of the movie Twilight. For those of you watching along at home, that's from 1:42:35 to 1:46:12. And now, on to the episode. Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to yet another episode of Bite Sized. If this is your first time tuning into the show, how did you tune into it? We're not on a radio. But if this is your first time listening to the show, here's what's going on. My name is Ben. I am your host. I'm watching the movie Twilight one scene at a time with a different guest every week. I find someone to be on the show. I send them around 90 seconds-ish of the movie Twilight, and then we talk about it for a little bit. Speaking of guests joining me this week, I have two of them for reasons that we'll get to in a minute. You've heard them both on this show before. You will hear them much more in the future. Ben Auxier and Sarah Murphy, welcome back to Bite Sized.
Hi.
Thank you so much for having me.
Are you mocking me?
No,
Okay.
It did sound like I was doing an impression of your cadence just then.
It did.
But I was just trying to be sincere.
The boys are fighting.
The boys are fighting already.
It's going to go downhill from here.
Auxier and I are like beta fish. If you put us in the same podcast, one of us is going to kill the other one.
Two Bens enter. One Ben leaves.
That's
Every time we see ourselves in the mirror, we start freaking out.
I go through so many mirrors that way. Yeah, before we get into the scene, let's talk about why we're doing this the way that we are.
Yeah, why are we doing this the way we are, Smurf?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm having... Okay, so listen.
Okay.
The three of us were going to record what they understood, the two of them understood to be, we had watched the hit 1999 movie, Viva Rock Vegas.
Important context for the listener here. We're starting a Patreon series wherein we watch and discuss films featuring Twilight actors before they were in Twilight. On the schedule tonight, we were going to discuss Kristen Stewart's film debut, The Flintstones and Viva Rock Vegas.
So some of us misunderstood what the purpose of this evening was. And some of us who are very smart and very hot thought that we were watching it tonight.
Yeah.
Some of us didn't do any homework because they didn't know the test was today.
Right.
So.
And others of us, I would say maybe perhaps two of us who are, we could be accurately described as big ugly apes, watched the movie in advance. Don't say that about my best friends. And we're coming prepared to discuss it and not do sort of a live watch along.
Yeah, so now you all know that we are going to be providing a full overview of the movie Viva Rock Vegas. Sorry, The Flintstones in Viva Rock Vegas.
See, homework I didn't do. I didn't know that was the longer title.
After Smurf watches it on a plane this week.
Yes, I have a flight I'm catching this week that I believe is about 2 hours, so I will have time to watch Viva Rock Vegas 1.25 times.
Yeah, then pick your favorite 30 minutes and watch it again.
And just watch it again. Okay, great.
Support the show.
All that is coming very soon. Patreon.com/Twilight podcast, where there is truly nothing to see except for me saying there's currently nothing to see. But by God, there will be soon. Also, speaking of things where there's currently nothing to see, but there will be by the time you listen to this, go to twilightpodcast.com/live to find out information about our first live show, July 6th, at the Newport Theater in Chicago, Illinois, featuring all the three people you're listening to right now. Anyway, that's what we were going to do. We were going to talk about the second Flintstones movie that everyone knows and loves and adores. And so now we're doing something a little different. We're just doing a normal episode of Bite Sized, and instead of getting the clip a week in advance and watching it very carefully and taking our notes, we just sort of watched it right before we started recording, so we're coming in fresh.
We're raw dogging it.
Yeah.
And let me just say, it's a long one, too.
It's 3.5 minutes.
Is this the longest clip?
This might be the longest clip yet.
No, the longest clip we've had was about 7 minutes long, because it's that scene in the forest when Bella confronts Edward with the fact that he's a vampire, and he says a lot of things like, as if you could outrun me, and this is the
best
Bella.
Scene.
Because it's just it's a very long scene, and it's just the two of them in one location talking for a very long time, so I wasn't able to chop it up like I normally do.
Right.
But this is certainly up there. And what is it? It's Bella. She's in a hospital bed. Her mom is there. She leaves. Edward is also there. He doesn't leave. And that's the brief overview of the clip. So let's get into it. Bella is, as stated, in the hospital. She wakes up to see her mom staring at her. Her first question, where is Edward? And Renee says that Edward is asleep.
Bella? Baby? Bella? Mom. Where is he? Where's Edward? He's asleep. He never leaves.
And we see Edward on a couch pretending to sleep in a way that no one has ever slept.
I giggled.
My first note was Edward is very bad at pretending to sleep.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. He's a vampire. He doesn't sleep. He hasn't slept in a very long time. But he is sleeping, sitting straight up. He's sitting on a bed, by the way. He's not seated.
Wait, that's a bed?
Yes, he's seated on a little, sometimes.
It's one of those like hospital couches.
Yeah, in hospital rooms, there will be like a little cot on the side, but there's clearly
a pillow.
There's clearly a pillow and there's a little sheet there. It's not like he fell asleep in a recliner. He's sitting back against the wall with his butt on a bed.
Right.
And that's where he's like, this is how people go, right? This is how they sleep. Instead of just lying down on the bed like a person would to sleep.
It's giving to me like little kid faking being asleep in the car so that they can get carried inside of like, no, this is what sleepiness is.
Yeah.
I don't think it would have been more ridiculous if he'd have been saying honk shoe, honk
a little feather floating above him. Yeah.
With a nightcap.
That's how they do it in Forks.
My question then is what does he stand to gain by faking being asleep? Because like Renee is awake at this hour, Charlie's awake at this hour. Why can't he just be awake too? Why the charade?
Maybe he has to sell the idea that he's so tired.
Yeah, because I think they said he hasn't left her side. So I bet he's just reached a point of like, okay, a person would be asleep by now.
But it's been long enough for Renee to fly from Jacksonville.
I don't know, but speaking of the timeline, I had another question about that because yes, Mom would have needed to have time to fly over, but then also there's a bunch of like flowers and gifts in the background. There's I think 3 or 4 sets of flowers. So if it was just like one, you'd be like, oh, maybe that's just in the hospital room. But a bunch means people they have found out what's going on and have sent over gifts that have arrived in the hospital. Like, how long has she been lying on this bed unconscious?
Enough people heard about what a wild thing, supposedly, I'm doing air quotes, happened that they were like, we gotta get her flowers. Like, honey, we're just here because you broke your leg. This girl, oh my God.
What happened? Well, when you fell, you broke your leg. And you lost a lot of blood. You don't remember any of this, do you? Edward came down with his dad to try to convince you to come back to Forks. So you went over to their hotel, then you tripped. And you fell down 2 flights of stairs. Went through a window.
And they show it
in what may be my favorite new, like, it's just like 5 seconds, but they went through all the trouble to show us this thing that never happened of getting a stunt performer who looks like Bella very dramatically rolling down some stairs.
Yeah.
I've seen Twilight so many times and I've never paid attention to that. I don't think I've ever really noticed that before of just watching Bella flail down the stairs.
How many different iterations of this lie do you think the Cullens went through before they landed on, going through a window, that's it.
Right.
She tripped 2 flights of stairs, then through a window.
Yeah.
Why did they need the then through a window part?
Well, to explain like the cuts and like especially like the bite marks on her wrist. They need the broken glass.
That her leg is like crunched.
She fell down 2 flights of stairs, through a window, and then into the mouth of a wolf, if you can believe it.
That wolf was Jacob.
She fell into a wolf's mouth, and that's why there's a big old fang marks on her.
Also, like, I don't care how clumsy you are. If you can fall down 2 flights of stairs, and as we all know, hotel stairs double back on themselves a lot.
Yeah.
I'm always saying that.
If you can fall down 2 flights of stairs, which would essentially require at least 2 U-turns, and still maintain enough momentum to break a hotel window that is somehow at ground level, some kind of floor-to-ceiling hotel window on the stairwell, that strains credulity, and yet Renee is just willing to accept it.
Yeah, she doesn't even seem freaked out as she's describing it to her daughter. She's describing it in just kind of a, oh, you and your accidents kind of way.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, like my little sister, she was one of those people who always like she touches something and her hand bruises. Like she just she bruised like a banana.
Oh, she's me. Yeah.
And so it was just be like, oh, you and your bruises. That's what this felt like, is just, you again, falling down multiple flights of stairs with a trajectory sufficient to push yourself through a double-paned window.
Picking up speed like a cartoon snowball rolling down a hill.
We can't prove this hasn't happened to Bella before.
Maybe that's why everybody was so ready with the flowers. They were just like,
they're waiting.
Oh yeah, I have this on standby. I've actually got a repeat order button from flowers.com.
Yeah.
I just go in here and the usual. It's set to recurring, and really it's set to a recurring monthly thing, and I just go in and tell them what months I don't need. Sorry, you fell down the stairs and threw a window, flowers.
I feel like if I was Renee or perhaps Officer Charlie, I would have questions, and that's why Renee's not the mom of the week today.
No, she is not mom of the week.
We really don't get a mom of the week in this episode.
No, we better find one by the end of this episode, because that jingle is just sitting there.
Shit, you mean to call my mom again?
Fallow.
Sorry.
No, your mom can't be the mom of the week again. It's got to be a different mom.
Okay, that's fair.
You can't be mom of the week consecutively. It's in the Constitution.
That's fair. That's the law.
Sorry, Auxier. There's nary another mom to be seen in this scene.
I'll find one.
Okay. Renee is texting Phil because he's worried, but don't worry, he can stay in Florida because he's got important baseball things going on.
It's Phil. He's so worried about you. You're texting. Finally, yeah.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
Mom is texting away, and she's texting on, hey, kids, if there happens to be anybody
A youth.
particularly young listening to this podcast, I think most of our listeners are around my age. But if you don't remember, there was a thing called T9.
Yeah.
And that was before all of our phones had just full keyboards on them. T9 had the set of physical buttons that corresponded to numbers, and each of those number buttons had like 3 letters on it, and you would press it a certain number of times to enter a letter. It was a specific way of typing that took a lot of practice to get good at.
Yeah.
And now the advantage of T9, and I took advantage of this, was that if you got good enough at it, you could do it without looking, which is how I texted all the way through high school in class with no one seeing, because I would just do it under the table. I didn't have to look. But Mom's a pro. So again, timelines are confusing. Mom just started, and she's already better at this than my father is at actual typing to this day.
I'm starting to think maybe Renee is not being completely honest with us about everything.
Or maybe Renee's just a phone savant, Maybe she picked up phone and immediately her fingers knew what to do.
I don't think she's even texting Phil.
Who do you think she's texting?
Who do you think she's texting?
I think she's texting the mom of the week. Mama.
Nice try. There is no mom on the other side of that phone. We know it. It's
you don't
Phil.
know that.
I do.
You don't know that.
I don't.
Mom of the week is the mom who dropped off flowers in Bella's room.
Yeah.
Really filling up the scene.
Probably, what's her name? Esme Cullen. I don't know.
Esme Cullen is the mom of the week. Mom of the week.
All right, Auxier, you did it. You forced in another mom of the week. Congratulations.
Mom of the week.
Oh, honey, you are gonna love Jacksonville. It's sunny every day. And we found the cutest little house, and you've got your own bathroom.
I still want to live in Forks.
What?
I want to live in Forks.
Well, okay, but we'll talk about it.
She says you're going to love living in Jacksonville, which has never been true for anyone.
Brand new sentence created for the Twilight movie.
Mm-hmm.
And Bella says, no, I'm living in Forks, which is deeply confusing because she just ran away from Forks with giving no explanation except for, I hate it here, I don't want to live here.
Right.
So and Mom just kind of goes, we'll talk about it later, which, I mean, maybe fair enough. She's very injured right now, but you need to get to the bottom of what is happening.
Yeah.
With this daughter who just up and left her father in a huff, being like, I don't want to turn out like Mom, and then ran away. And then it's just like, oh, of course I'm going back to Dad. What are you talking about?
Right.
I feel like I would just assume that my kid's on drugs.
That's a reasonable assumption.
To be like, I'm just going to up and leave? dad, go across the country, fall down 2 flights of stairs out of a window.
At a hotel paid for by some rich family that's clearly enabling her weird behavior.
Can you please put us on whatever floor is 2 above your weakest windows?
Yes.
Oh, sir, I'm so sorry. That room is booked for the night.
Well, do you have a cannon or something that we can
yes,
fire,
we do.
fire someone out of to achieve sufficient velocity?
The great Phoenix Hilton cannon.
Do you have any stairwells with one of those Scooby-Doo switches that turns them into slides?
It'd be funnier if she slid out the window. I'd have a good laugh about that.
I mean, yeah, that would be amazing. But unfortunately, that's not what we get.
Unfortunately, not.
We just get, I found your daughter, but like, don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Don't ask the hotel about it. They won't know anything.
They don't know her. They don't know me.
Again, though, I don't want to harp on it because I do understand that the movie has to just
No, harp.
It's got to keep going.
Yes.
But Mom is nonplussed. She's like, "Good morning, sunshine." You through her window, and then again, her daughter does a whole 180, and it's just like, "No, of course I'm going back to Forks." And she's just like, "We'll see." And I'm just like, "Hey, there's so much going on right now that you, as a mother, should be far more concerned about."
I can only assume she's in some sort of like crisis management mode where she's like, there's about 1,000 things here that need my attention. And so she's just like triaging, picking the most important ones and focusing on that first. Like, okay, Bella is injured. Let's focus on getting her walking again. And then we'll figure out where does she want to live and why was she in Phoenix with this weird boy.
Yeah, I feel like just getting through it of like, listen, if I say the wrong thing, she might try to jump out this window. So true. I'm just going to keep her calm and relaxed. If her heart rate goes over a certain level, she'll automatically fling herself out a window.
Mm-hmm. That's how she is. Sounds like me, she says. Sounds like me.
Is that what she says? Sounds like me.
She does. When Mom described, I know we're jumping around here, but when Mom described how she fell down the stairs and then through a window, Bella's response is,
"Went through a window."
Yeah, that sounds like me.
Now, obviously, Bella she's learning what the fiction is, and she's yes-anding the fiction,
right?
So that her mom, goes along with it and doesn't feel suspicious. But still, her way of keeping this fiction up is just like, I do be falling through windows.
A totally normal thing. It could happen to any of us.
Swan women, we're known. Dive out of windows.
That's why they call it swan diving.
Do you mind getting Dad? I have to talk to him. Apologize.
Okay, baby. I'll go get him. And I'll go get a nurse, okay? Okay.
And then the rest of the scene is her talking to Edward and him just saying various red flags, such as you're in here because of me, and that she needs to go to Jacksonville so that he can't hurt her anymore.
Yes.
And these are just things that, again, young listeners, to Bite-Sized, A, please don't, but B, if your potential romantic partner says those sort of things to you, maybe don't talk to that person ever again.
Okay, I'm going to push back on that a little.
Okay, Auxier.
I think this is maybe for a second one of the only times where he is saying something weird.
Has a point.
She says,
"I'm alive because of you."
No, you're in here because of me.
Which is true.
That is correct.
It's false.
What?
Why?
No, he's in there because of James.
But the reason James is chasing her is because a vampire man decided to start dating a teenager. She's in there because of him. If you take the dominoes back, she is in there because of him. She's in there because she got involved with a vampire.
Yes, indirectly she is there because of him. But the way he says that and the way he immediately starts talking about barely being able to control himself when in that moment makes it sound like he thinks she's in the hospital because of the bite, and that if he wasn't there, the broken leg and the shard of glass in her femoral artery would have just sort of taken care of themselves.
Oh.
That's how I took it. I could be, it clearly the two of you saw it the indirect way.
You mean he's saying you're in the hospital because I saved you by biting you?
No, I think that's him expressing guilt for drinking all that blood that she's lost, because he definitely sucked out a lot of it.
Oh, right, because they do say, like, you lost a lot of blood.
Right.
And again, sounds like me. I do be losing blood.
I put it down somewhere. Don't remember where it was.
I set it down, guys. I just put it down.
I took it off for just a second to wash my hands.
Okay, well, if you translate his statement, "You're in here because of me," to mean you probably wouldn't be hospitalized right now if I hadn't taken all your blood, then I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I translated it as your life got to this point because of me.
Yeah.
That is reasonable, yes.
But I guess either could be true.
I'm in Camp Auxier. I think he's like, hey, listen, you got to the point that, a vampire fucking shattered your leg like it was a stalk of celery because I liked baseball too much and I got too close to you. I'm sorry.
Well, and then he says, you got to move to Jacksonville because you got to get away from all us crazy monster people so that this doesn't keep happening, which I mean, do we all agree with that sentiment?
He has a point, that's for sure.
He definitely has a point there. She should get away from all the monster people.
She loves him.
It is love, though, Auxier.
Okay,
did you
her
think
response.
about that? Auxier, no,
didn't.
Auxier, no. Auxier, did you try opening your heart to true love? Did you ever think about doing that, maybe?
I have a couple of times. It hasn't gone great. So that's why when she tries to do it here, I'm just like, no, don't do that. Go to Jacksonville. And then I was like, what am I saying? Don't go to Florida. You got no options left, kid.
It sounds like Bella loses either way.
Yeah, it's a sad state of affairs when your best of two options is move to Jacksonville. Apologies to any listeners in or around Jacksonville.
I'm not sorry.
I guess we're just not big fans of your town.
No. It's not Jacksonville. It's Florida as a whole. Listen,
yeah.
If you live there and you're listening to this podcast, you do not have my disdain. You have my sympathy.
Yeah.
Look, even if Florida were not the political equivalent of that mold you forget is in the fridge, even if that weren't the problem, it's still just humid all day, every day, the whole year. And that alone is a reason it should secede from the union.
Some people like that.
Well, they're wrong.
They're wrong.
By some people, I mean me.
That's insane.
What's wrong with you?
That's insane.
From Houston, which is even hotter and humider than Jacksonville could ever hope to be.
I could buy Houston being hotter, but is it humider?
I don't know exactly what Jacksonville's whole deal is, but Houston is definitely built on top of a swamp. It's just the whole town is just wet 24/7. There's a reason nobody in Houston has a basement. That's because if you dig down 3 feet, just water starts filling the hole you tried to dig. Yeah, and you know what? I like it. I like that weather, okay? What are you going to do about it?
And that's the life Bella deserves. It's just a wet basement where no one can hurt her.
Isn't it interesting, though?
Yes.
And I don't know that I've ever fully considered this before now, that mom and dad went to separate corners of the continental U.S. They went about as far away from each other in the continental U.S.
That is true.
As they could possibly go, with vastly different biomes and vastly different weather.
Yeah.
And giving Bella this moment to just be like, I could go to, these are not like small differences. This is,
right.
I'm on the other side of the country. I'm pretty much as far away from him as I can reasonably get if I go to Jacksonville.
Right.
Oh, then Edward could never see her in Jacksonville. It's too sunny.
Yeah.
She'd never see him again. Oh.
When Edward says, you got to go to Jacksonville, Bella's response is psychotic. She doesn't, because when her mom had said, come move to Jacksonville, her response was, no, I want to stay in Florida. When Edward says, you should go to Jacksonville, she goes, she loses her mind for a sec. She can't finish a sentence.
Here's the thing, though. As a former teen girl, I get it. As a former teen girl, you tell me that the person I love more than anything else in this world, despite the fact that he is a vampire and absolutely could hurt me, the idea that I could never see him again and I have to go to Jacksonville. Oh, the hormones are raging. There's no thought. It's just rage.
Right.
It is
I was remember when we were about to start recording and y'all finished the clip and I said, hold on, I'm still watching something? That's what I was watching. I went back and I watched that again because I was honestly very impressed. I timed it. She stammers nonstop for about 18 seconds without like really repeating herself. It's honestly impressive. She doesn't repeat herself all that much.
Bella, you gotta go to Jacksonville, so I can't hurt you anymore.
What? Are you... No. No. How... I don't even know what you're saying. How... What are you talking about? You want me to go away? I can't... No, I can't just leave you.
All three of us do improv in various performing arts.
Yeah.
We know how it is to just sort of stream of consciousness do something like that without really saying anything for that long is kind of impressive. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
All right. Now we got to do something. Here's the game.
Okay.
We'll give each other prompts, and you have to stammer about that prompt for 18 straight seconds.
I'm nervous.
Give me a prompt. You got to give me something unique that would make me react stammery.
The cats ate one of the puzzle pieces.
What? How did they get in the? I put the piece in the other. It was in the. It's not locked. It isn't locked when you get. And they're gonna. It's all of the floor now. It's gonna be when. I gotta get the. I gotta. Damn it! Where did I put the? That's 18 seconds.
All right, that's not bad.
Oh my God. 18 seconds is so long.
It's so long.
All right, a round robin, Auxier, now you got to say something to Sarah.
All right.
Okay.
You just got to the airport for a departing flight, but you realize you're at Midway and you're supposed to be at O'Hare.
I checked the I looked at my ticket and said, but turn, just go around, just turn around. No, but the thing's driving away. I'm ever gonna do. My grandma.
And time.
Wow. My grandma.
We got to see. What I'm enjoying about this is that we're seeing like a story starts to emerge.
Yeah.
More details start to emerge.
And yet, when Bella did it, no details emerged.
No details. All she said was no very poorly for 18 seconds. All right, Smurf, give Ben a prompt.
You just showed up to work and found out that they are all out of cheese.
What? But what am I gotta cut. No. This is because it's a cheese. It's a cheese. So what are we supposed? I don't know how. What am I gonna do now? I can't cut. I don't know what I'm supposed to. I gotta do. I can't. I got a mong. I just don't know where to go. What do I do? I gotta do something.
Time.
There's okay. That was truth in comedy. My day job is cheesemongering, and so if I show up to work and we're out of cheese, that means I'm looking at empty shelves and I have nothing to do except for maybe try to procure some more cheese. But I gotta say that's hard. I feel like I fell back on I gotta a lot, and I probably didn't do as good a job as professional actress Kristen Stewart.
No,
I have an appreciation for.
Certainly.
I think that she performed it. I think she performed it really well. But it's wild to see him not just say like, no, it's okay. I still want to. I don't care if it's dangerous. Like her mind short circuits.
Yeah.
It just short circuits.
It's weird from thinking about sort of a on the day standpoint that like the director saw that amount of stammering and was like, yeah, that's an appropriate amount, and didn't say, okay, Kristen, let's do that again, but can you do it a lot shorter this time? Maybe like half of that.
They had to pad that runtime.
You gotta hit the minimum. The almost.
Now, Bear, when you said that you were timing something, I thought you were timing something else, because there is a shot of Edward just looking when he's talking to Bella. He doesn't blink for like the entire scene until like near the end, where he just does like two very dramatic blinks and then starts talking again. And I was like, sir, you are the scariest you've ever looked. Is this on purpose? You're looking at her like a little piece of prey.
Nope, not what I was timing at all.
It just felt unnaturally long to me, and it made my eyeballs hurt.
Well, now he's tasted her blood, and once you pop, the fun don't stop.
That's true. That's so true. But, they have their little conversation, and they both agree that she's moving back to Forks, and he gives her a little kiss on the forehead like I kiss my cats. And then the scene ends. And that's it. That's all there is to it.
To be fair, every time I tell my cats they have to move to Florida to get away from me, they just go.
I often tell my cats that they're in here because of me. That's true, because I adopted them.
Yeah.
Sarah and or Ben, if you had to give this scene a name, what would it be? And this is going to be the name of the episode, so make it good. And I'm excited to see how you sort of tackle this as a team.
I feel like windows have to be involved.
Windows have to be involved. Stammering has to be involved.
Oh, no.
Maybe it's just stammer down the stairs.
Stammer down the stairs.
Stammer down the stairs. I like that.
I like it. Clean.
Good.
Ben Auxier and or Sarah Murphy, if people like hearing you talk about things and want to hear you talk about more things, where can they maybe do that thing?
You can find me on most social media platforms as Oops All Smurf. Upcoming Tuesdays in July, I will be at the Second City with my improv group Swiped, doing improvised thievery in Judy's Beat Lounge. So if you're in the Chicagoland area, come on down.
Auxier, what do you got?
At the moment, you can see me at the Second City as well on Sundays with the show Wheel of Improv, and hopefully more and more often our old stomping grounds of Riff, but we'll know more about that maybe a little later on. And then also just don't forget to come out to our live show.
Yeah.
This live show, the Bite Size live show, which I'm sure Abear will talk more about in a moment.
Absolutely. Definitely come out on July 6th, 2025 at 7 p.m. Come to the Newport Theater in beautiful Wrigleyville, Chicago, Illinois to see the very first and hopefully not last bite-sized live shows featuring the three of us that you're listening to right now. We're going to do some comedy that won't be recorded. We'll then record a podcast that will be recorded. It'll all last about an hour and you can buy some drinks and it's only $10. All that information is available and hopefully by the time this podcast episode goes up, links to where you can buy tickets, something that I have not seen yet, but I haven't generally looked, at twilightpodcast.com/live. You can follow the show on social media at bitesizedpod_ on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. No, not on Twitter anymore. That doesn't exist. On, what's it even called?
X.
Tumblr, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, those things. You can do all of them. And more, but that's it. Nothing else. I don't know what. I just forgot how to talk for a moment. Don't listen to me. But actually, do send an email to the show if you want to reach out. You can send an email to myfavoritetwilightpodcast@gmail.com. I know there's emails in there, but I forgot to pull one up, and I'm not going to make my co-hosts sit through me pulling up and finding an email to read. That's fine. I'll do it on the next episode.
This email says, "Can't wait to hear you guys talk about Viva Rock Vegas." Hope nobody forgets to watch it. This is the only thing keeping me going in a very dark time.
Oh my God.
You know, me too, listener.
I'll watch it like 3 times. Okay, listen, how many times do you need me to watch it?
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't watch it 3 times.
Definitely don't do that. Once is enough.
It's a bad movie. Thank
you to Ben Auxier for editing this. I can say it to your face this time.
You're welcome.
Thank you to the band Swimwear Department for letting me use their song Mauled to Death as our theme. And that is it. That is all we have for today's episode of Bite Size. As we always say at the end of every episode.
Let's do it one word at a time, okay, sir?
I love that.
Don't
forget
to
not
fall
out
a
window.
Don't forget to not fall out a window. See you next time.
Then you tripped. And you fell down 2 flights of stairs. Went through a window.
Yeah, that sounds like me.